Welcome, everybody in attendance, and welcome our viewers on cable, and please join me for a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In just a moment, I'm going to ask you all to join with me in a moment of silence because we've lost a career educator, Cindy Youngman, who actually was born in Plymouth and graduated from Plymouth Carver, class of 1976, then started her educational career as a special needs teacher at Federal Furnace School. I knew Cindy. Cindy worked there for 25 years until she retired in 2012 and has passed away, and we lose a career educator. So please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We're adding a report at the very top of our meeting here this evening to hear a little bit of information from Chief Bradley, but let me first turn it over to Dr. Maestas.
Yes, good evening, members. This morning, a little after 6 o'clock, we were notified that we had an issue over at North High School, and thank goodness for our fire suppression system. We did have a classroom fire, and we were connected with Chief Bradley and his department. They responded extremely quickly to Plymouth North High School, and we have a very good alarm system in that building, and it actually extinguished the flame with a sprinkler system. One sprinkler let go right above the fire, and Chief Bradley and his team were there shortly after the alarm went off. And I've asked Chief Bradley to come in tonight just to be here tonight, and I just want to, I want him to be here so we can thank the police, the fire department for their response, but also for really the guidance as we put together the plans for Plymouth North High School. And we put together with huge guidance from the fire department on how our buildings would operate and the requirements necessary to have a modern building in Massachusetts today. Things went exceptionally well, and I think the reason why they did is because of all of these plans and protocols and directives that we have put in place for our schools. School was a little bit delayed this morning. Kids were in the second and third floor in classrooms until we could actually open up the rest of the building. But I was there this morning. Assistant Superintendent Fry was emailing back and forth with me, texting back and forth, and we were able to get things going. Principal McSweeney, can't say enough about her management of the building and getting things up and running today, but it worked out. Everything worked out well. So, Chief, if you could come on up, and I'm not sure if you have anything else to add, but I know we did talk a few times today, and Chief, I just want you to know from me, I'm very grateful for your professionalism, your department, and how they respond to the issues that we have from time to time. Today was a huge test of our system, a huge test of the relationship between the school department and the fire department. It worked out exceptionally well. So if you have things to add, I would be...
Chief, I'm sure we have a bunch of unanswered questions, so if you provide us with some details, you're probably going to answer all of our questions before we get to ask them.
Absolutely. As you know, this school, as well as having a fire suppression system and a modern detection system, it also has a direct connection to the Plymouth Fire Department through a radio master box. So not only do we get a notification immediately that there's a problem in the building, but then it starts providing further information. And the first bit of information provided at 6:11 this morning was that there was a water flow. Now, even if there isn't a fire, a water flow is a concern for us. We want to get there as expeditiously as we can, because even if there isn't a fire, water flowing is not good for anybody's building. So that's a concern. The next alarm we got as they were en route was a carbon monoxide detector alarm, and then it even tells us what floor the problem is on and what type of detector went into alarm, and tells us the closest door. In this particular case, it was door C6, the C side of the building, door number 6. When they did arrive, as they were headed down the hallway to go to the sprinkler room to get some more information, they encountered room 117. Had some glass windows into the hallway. They could see it was charged with smoke, and the sprinkler system had gone off, and there was a lot of condensation on the inside of the window, and that's from the steam created when the water came down on top of the fire. So they made their preparations to enter that room. All the fire doors were kept closed so that we could contain it. When that alarm goes off, it shuts off the ventilation system in the building, which is a good thing. We don't want to spread any smoke. As I arrived, I found Principal McSweeney walking. She's out in the pouring rain in the parking lot, trying to get information and share information with the firefighters were there. And I immediately got her into my car. She said she wanted to talk to Dr. Maestas. He was already on the phone with me and the speaker in the car, so we had a quick open call so we could get some information shared. And then we headed right around back, because I wanted to find the custodians to be able to use that ventilation system in the building as it was designed, which we can shut down the area where there's a problem, turn on the areas around it, and actually create a positive pressure in the building so that the smoke would stay where it is and be ventilated out, and the rest of the building would not receive any extra smoke. Because it was raining out, heavy type air, it's a lot harder to move smoke in that particular instance. I mean, if it had been a day with a light breeze and a little bit warmth and the sun out, we could have mechanically moved that air around pretty good. It was a little bit of a chore for the crews to be able to do that with using the fans that we have, but we were able to control it into one area. I also knew that the school buses would be arriving soon, and there were some children that were already there that either drove themselves or were dropped off. And during the downpour, I didn't want them to be outside hanging underneath standing underneath one of the overhangs just to stay dry. So we immediately found that the library up front was a safe area. All of my trucks and the crews carry with them meters that are detecting. They're looking at oxygen levels, right to the percentage. They're looking for carbon monoxide and hydrogen cyanide and a few other gases that typically we'd run into if we had a building fire. This was a very small fire, so all we really ran into was carbon monoxide, which your building also has detectors in it for carbon monoxide. Once we knew that was a safe area for them, we got them out of the weather and inside. And then I knew we had a period of time where we could keep the students on the bus out front before the buses had to leave and start making their other pickups for their other schools. And in that period of time, we had to make a decision. Can we make an area in the school safe enough to bring in all the students, or are we going to Plan B, which is to deliver those students to another location, and then it would have probably been dismissals from those other locations. We were, again, because the fire was out and I knew that the crews were working on ventilating and getting the smoke and the odor out, we were able to post firefighters with meters in certain areas of the buildings, second and third floor. We knew they were safe. You know, on a damp day, you're probably going to get a scent of something that burned when you walk near that building, but there was no health hazards at all. So we were able to take the students and get them up the second and third floor. The staff, the custodians, unbelievable. And the students. 10 minutes later, as I was walking through some of the hallways, checking on the guys with the meters, they're in there right hard at work, doing their studying and teaching was going on. So, and the custodians were able to do that, manipulate the ventilation system for us so we could create that safe area. It went extremely well.
What was the cause of the fire?
The cause of the fire was unfortunately a heat lamp that was left on accidentally over the weekend, and eventually heated up enough. It was on top of a bench, wooden bench, that eventually started that smoldering and got that on fire. Then there was some drop-down fire that fell off the bench onto the floor. Right next to it was a plastic tool box, which the plastic burned really well. And that really got it going, and it ran up the side of the wooden cabinets and then up to the ceiling height. Now, there's a number of sprinklers in that room like there is in any of the rooms. Those sprinkler heads in there are set to go off at 150 degrees. So at the temperature, at the ceiling level, which is about 10 feet high, you know that the column of smoke and heat has to go up and kind of mushroom out in the ceiling. Eventually get to that 150 degrees, and then that one sprinkler head came on, that's all it was needed, created enough water, enough steam to put the fire out. It was at 6:11 we got that call. At 6:31, the system registered that it had got a smoke detector alarm in the building. So the sprinkler system was pretty quick.
So the decrease in the pressure of the fire suppression system is what triggers the first alarm?
Yes, right.
The water
It knew right
pressure?
away that there was a water flow. There are paddle valves in each one of the systems in the school, each one of the branches, and the minute the water starts to flow, the paddle opens up, and that gave us the immediate alarm. Yes. Yep, that was Master Box 157. I listened to it this morning.
We were all in the building on Saturday, Sunday rather. So this heat lamp was left on the whole weekend long, we have to assume, I guess. Yes?
Yes, he knew for sure that he left the building between 3:30 and 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. He was, he said, in my mind, he said, "Chief, I know I unplugged it because I always check before I go out," but he said, "I can't
We're not
say
robots.
for sure."
Chief,
That's
we're
right.
not robots.
No,
Yeah.
that's right. He couldn't say for sure, and sure enough, it was plugged in and that outlet was live. So yes, it stayed on for that length of time. And it was part of a little project that he was showing the students
Students, yeah.
on.
Steam engines. Yep.
Ms. Badger?
How long will it take us to get that room back to being able to be in working order
Well,
for the students?
today, Mr. Costin and I walked through the building with the insurance adjuster and also the company that's going to do the remediation. And I think that one classroom will take longer than the others because the water damage is going to have to be cleared up. Carpets, there's carpet in that room, there's carpet in another adjacent room, so that has to be determined if we can save one or the other. I think we'll have to pull out carpet from both those rooms. Water that was in the wall, so we're going to have wall boards that have to come out. We're going to have to take out wallboard and a small section in one of the adjacent rooms. But I think our biggest concern is to make sure that we get into the walls and make sure it's completely dry, because if you don't get that, we'll have a long-term problem. So, it's probably going to take a couple, 3 weeks to even get to the point where we
Can do that.
can have a final end date, but I think it'll go till beyond the end of school.
Yeah.
The great part about it is now that seniors are gone, there's other classrooms available that we can then transition classes to.
Perfect.
So I think that's a good thing. We'll see some temporary storage units that will be on the garage backside of the school that will hold equipment that can be reused and stored, and then we'll have another one that will be for discard, things that will have to be discarded because of the fire. So it was a small fire, but smoke does damage, the water does damage, so those things are the things that we have to kind of go through and see what we can reuse and not reuse.
Can you place 117 for me, please?
Yes, it is the classroom that is directly across from the engineering lab that is on the external part of the building. The 117 is the computer design classroom that's directly across, and it's a counterpart to the engineering
To the
studio.
engineering.
Yeah.
So with all the computers, so.
Oh, yeah, it's all computers.
Ms. Badger?
And again, we're not all like, we're not robots, right? So we're not going to remember how to do that every time, to turn everything
No.
off. Is there some sort of like, something we can put in, like that plug, or in something that they use that like turns it off after a while? They have those sensors?
Yeah, I think
just
after this,
looking
Ms.
for
Badger, I think after this,
long-term.
The protocols for things like this,
Yeah.
timers,
Yeah.
that you use for projects,
Yeah.
to have it go on for 10 minutes and it shuts off on its own.
Yeah.
Things like that can be used, so I'm sure Ms. Sylvia, the vocational director, will be looking at
Perfect.
what we need to involve. Mr. Baker will be looking into that as well. Make sure that we have those
It could happen to
those
anybody.
pieces. Yeah.
We could all
And-
do it at
And,
home.
it's, it was a demonstration on steam engines and how heat generates steam. The bulb is the heat
Yep.
source,
Yep.
causing the steam to, make this little, it's a small engine that works off steam. And it's, practical application.
Yep.
Was the water damage confined to the one room? Or
water-
did other sprinklers go off as well?
I know this is your world, Mr. Morgan. It was in the center of two classrooms that were impacted. So the classroom that goes along with the woodworking course, and that's another lab. Water went under the wall and then into the
Okay.
carpet. So that is going to be a carpet issue, and also maybe some drywall on that one adjoining wall or counterpart wall. And then we have the Allied Health classroom on the left side of that. And the Allied Health is in the same position where we're going to have to probably take some wallboard off, maybe 2
Yeah.
feet up, as far back as the water went. And it wicks, you know.
Yeah.
And once that comes up, you know, our remediation specialists will go through and make sure that the walls are dry. They dry the interiors and then they reassemble. And then they're going to have to paint and, you know, do all that stuff.
The studding is aluminum,
The studding is not, it's steel studs, but.
so it won't
it's-
rust.
They're galvanized?
If they dry it out really well, I
Yeah.
gotta imagine.
Yes.
Chief, one more question for you. So when that water pressure drops in the fire suppression system, does that alarm kick in right away, or does it take a while? Because it seems like a lot of water here.
No, it does
up
kick in
fast.
right away. There is a lot of water there. I'll bet you've flowed probably 8 to 10,000 gallons of water. Now, it's into alarm, it sends the alarm to us, there's a reflex time for the alarm to come in, the dispatch to be made, and then when they get there and find they got this room that's chock full of smoke, they're not gonna open the door until they have a hand line ready, and just in case
Right,
their sprinkler
right.
system hasn't
Actually,
handled
yeah,
it.
sure.
And then they were able to shut the sprinkler system down right away, that zone. 10 minutes later, I asked them, you sure you got it shut off? And Chief, I'm sure it's off, but there's 3 stories. So it's trying to drain the whole building down. So we went right to the main drain, which they don't like to do because it meant disabling the whole system, but that was okay. We had plenty of people in the building, there was
Right,
no
right,
worry.
right, right, yeah.
And we drained it outside, and that stopped a lot more of the.
Okay,
of it.
all right.
Typically, the water that comes out of a sprinkler system, if you can imagine, if the building was 20 years old, the water's probably been there for 20 years, along with the cutting oil and the rust that builds up, that, you know, it wasn't, the water wasn't that bad a quality, so there wasn't a lot of, you know, damaged black water and smell that went along with that you typically see, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much for
Thank
coming in.
you.
We
Okay,
really
thanks.
appreciate it. And you did answer our questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Is there anybody attending tonight's meeting who isn't already on the agenda who would like to address the school committee? Okay, seeing no hands, I'm going to move to the next agenda item, is to get our report from North. Ed?
Thank you. Congratulations to our seniors who were honored at Academic Convocation held on Thursday, May 31st. 115 seniors were invited and received Excellence Awards, Performance Awards, and/or Service Awards. The Salutatorian Award for the class of 2018 was Marianne Mendel, and the Valedictorian Award for the class of 2018 was Lauren Whitney. Congratulations to both of these students for attending the highest GPA. Plymouth North High School graduated 283 students on Saturday, June 2nd. Over 3,000 family members and guests were in attendance to support these graduates. Of the graduating class, 81% will be attending either a 2 or 4-year college, 3% to the military, 2% to a technical certificate or preparatory program, 14% into the workforce. We'd like to wish all of our graduates success in their future endeavors. Meet the Coaches and Clearance Night is Tuesday, June 12th at 6 p.m. All grades will meet in the PNHS auditorium. All students interested in participating in a fall 2018 sport at Plymouth North should attend with a parent or guardian. Friday, June 8th at 7 p.m., Northern Lights will hold their final performance of the year in the Performing Arts Center. Fall dance team tryouts will take place on June 18th through June 21st from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. in the PNHS Gymnasium. All students interested in joining should attend the tryouts. Final exams will begin on Monday, June 18th. Monday, June 18th and Tuesday, June 19th will be full days of school. Wednesday, June 20th, Thursday, June 21st, and Friday, June 22nd are early dismissal days at 11:05. The last day of school is Friday, June 22nd. The last date for late buses will be Tuesday, June 12th. Take advantage of the reduced transportation rate. Please have your application and payment into the PNHS main office before Friday, June 22nd. Transportation applications must be turned in for all students regardless of travel mode. Congratulations to the following boys track athletes for being named Patriot League All-Stars: Ray De Silva, Angelo Mancini, Brian Ryder, Zach Raley, Jake Dwyer, Jeff Yang, and Jimmy Riley. The last day of food services will be offering breakfast will be Thursday, June 21st, and the last day for lunch will be Tuesday, June 19th. Biology MCAS will be held on Wednesday, June 6th, and Thursday, June 7th.
Thank you for that report. And I was going to bring up something under reports and proposals of committee members, but since you mentioned it, I'm going to bring it up now while you're here. Yesterday, I had a good chunk of the track meet at my house for the track team at my house for a sort of a pool event. And I know you mentioned Jeff Yang's name, but I want to put a shout out to two people specifically because their accomplishments are really, really quite high. As we all know, that Colby Shannon is the 9th grade Division II championship in pole vaulting. We all know that. But Jeff Yang, a 10th grader, is the state champion in the 400 hurdles. Best in the state, a 10th grader from Plymouth North High School. And our hockey team got a great deal of, really, really important accolades. And I certainly wouldn't want an accomplishment such as this to and when I told him I was going to bring up his name, he's mortified. You better not do that. So what he sent me a list of everybody's accomplishments. He wanted to make sure I put it in there.
That's the kind of boy he
But
is.
I just wanted to pass that back. That's really quite an accomplishment.
He is pretty incredible. Like, of course, he has that giant accomplishment, which is amazing. He has amazing grades. He's the class vice president. He is simply wonderful.
He's
We're so
amazing,
lucky to
yeah.
have him.
Right, and he didn't speak English 4 years ago.
He didn't know, and
That's right.
I was recently told that, and I was so surprised.
Yeah.
His English is so well.
So,
Wow, very
Anyway, I
good.
just wanted to put that shout out because.
Thank you, Dr. Sorensen. That's important for our community to hear.
Oh, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a great year, by the way.
It was.
You can have the summer off now.
He's got some more time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is old business. Ms. Badger, go right ahead.
I was just hoping that maybe we could add to my whole crosswalk, just to look at all the schools over the summer. Just to make sure they all have crosswalks, because I was told by somebody, and I can't remember which school it was, but there's only half a crosswalk. I think it was Nathaniel Morton or something. There's half a crosswalk and the other half's been redone or something.
Huh.
And I can't remember the school.
We will make sure
Sorry.
that they get reviewed. I'll talk to JB.
I'll try to see if I can remember what
Yep.
the half a crosswalk
It might
is.
be Nathaniel Morton, because the stripes out in front of my old house were never replaced when they did
Yeah.
a lot of work, so I think that.
So, Jonathan Beater, JB,
Yeah.
is very responsive when I bring issues up, so I'll talk to him about it.
Okay.
I meet with him every Monday morning, and I'll make sure that we do something over the summer to start off the good year on a
Yeah,
prepared
just
note.
check. I mean,
Yeah.
it might
Well, it's-
actually be a full crosswalk now, but at
Well,
the
it's
time it was
crosswalks
not.
and the flashing lights. Those are two things that we're always looking at.
Perennial issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are two big issues,
Yeah.
and they, yeah, we'll work on it.
Do their best, yeah.
Old business. Ms. Hunt.
Okay, so I'm hoping that this is the appropriate place to put it up, but I understand that at the last meeting, we brought forth the MASC recommendation, or to vote to support MASC's efforts. And from what I understood, and I apologize because I asked to have that put on the agenda and then I wasn't here. So I think it was misinterpreted, so I would like to bring that up again and possibly vote. And I do have some information that I've passed out. And I think if it's explained differently, it might be understood as to what I was asking for. And there's a lot behind it. Do you want me to just go ahead?
Let me just say
and-
that
or do you?
it is appropriate because it was on the last meeting as an action item, and it was tabled, so it can be an action item tonight. Go right ahead.
All right, so what my intent to have that put onto the agenda is, and it's something that, to be honest with you, we probably should have done a long time ago. MASC is looking to add this to their legislative agenda, or they have it. And basically what they're doing is they're asking school committees to sign on to support for us to make a resolution to sign on to support their efforts.
We understand that it's been passed in the Senate and it still hasn't, gone anywhere yet. But from MASC's point of view, this is the time we need to push to make sure that it becomes a priority. And I know that there's, Dr. Maestas, you gave me a list of questions that the group had last time, some details, and I think that we all have those as well as MASC, but what we would like to do is actually make it a legislative priority for I'll say Massachusetts Association of School Committees. So that way, they can go to our legislators, our governor, with a list, and I gave everybody a copy of all the school committees that have signed on to it yet, it's double-paged, and say, these are our school committees, and we want this to happen. If we, I think we talked about this a little bit, if we go on our own and we talk to our representatives, that's the first thing I did, is I called our legislators. That's great, and they want to hear from us because we're our constituents. So if we want to talk to the people that are actually heading up these committees and are the powers that be, it's much bigger voice to come from a state association, because they can say, we are your constituents. This is the entire state, this just isn't one district. So I made a copy. We have at least 3 MASC members that sat on the Foundation Budget Review Commission. And these are the recommendations and the language that they want put in it. So basically what I'm asking is for our school committee to make a vote to support MASC in their efforts and sign on to their recommendations. It's not the actual bill, it's just the recommendations that are being asked to be put into the bill. So if anybody has any questions, I did talk to MASC today just to make sure that my language was okay. Some of the things that she told me, because I know at one time too, and Dr. Maestas and I talked about this, that it doesn't have a House bill number yet. And I asked for some clarification on that today, and she said that doesn't mean it doesn't have a bill number. It still has the S-2525, and that's what it's being referred to. They also said this is the ideal time for us to push for this, because we want to make it a priority, and we want to see it go somewhere, and we don't want it just to sit. She said we want the governor's support as well as the House. And now, another reason this is a perfect time is because maybe we can get some more language, and through discussions, we can work out all those questions that we had. So I'm just asking that we would make that.
So is your motion to,
I think Michelle has a
Just
question.
no, I was gonna ask if that
Oh,
was a
yeah,
motion.
so I would like to make a motion for our school committee to vote to support MASC in the recommendations of the foundation, to join other school committee, to join MASC in recommendations of the Foundation Budget Review Committee.
is there a second to that? Ms. Badger is the second. Other questions? I want to ask one question. I support your motion. I noticed that there are about 60 cities and towns that have signed on. There's one Board of Selectmen, the Sandwich Board of Selectmen. Do we have any interest in communicating with our Board of Selectmen that we would like them as well to participate in supporting?
We could, it wouldn't hurt,
Bridge builder.
yeah.
So if the committee, well, we can pass the motion, and if the committee feels, Dr. Maestas?
Good
Well,
point.
one thing that we have had communication with, in regard to school, with the Board of Selectmen, is the advocacy for looking at Chapter 70, and that comes up, we've had that discussion at the budget table, and I think if they want to add a level of support for that review and that adjustment, I think maybe their voice might couple the school committee.
If it joins with us,
Yeah.
carry that much more weight.
Yep.
And from what I understand too, they just formed a committee for the budget portion of this, like yesterday. So,
Good. Good
like I
timing.
said, this is a good time to do this.
So, Ms. Dargy, do you have the motion? Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, let's take the vote on that motion then.
Do we have to do? Yeah.
Verbal?
Yeah.
Oh, it'll have to be verbal, okay.
It's got to be verbal, because it
Okay.
wasn't, I don't have the
Okay,
ability to
all right.
create the motion.
Okay, so all those in favor of the motion? That is unanimous.
Thank you, everybody.
And will you send a message to the Board of Selectmen on this topic
will.
and see if we can get them
I
to
will,
support
I
as
will
well?
let them know that.
I also, when I talked to Tracy today, she said if we did vote for it, if we could please let her know, so she can add us to this list. I'm happy to do that, but it probably should come from Nancy. Do you want to do that, or do you want me to do it? Tracy Novak, yeah.
Is there anything else under old business to bring up this evening? Okay, moving to new business. Ms. Hunt?
Although it just went away from my notes. On the line of MASC, I just wanted to bring up that they are having the Summer Institute, and it's July 20th and 21st. It's in Marlborough. I believe it's $50 for one day, $75 for two. I unfortunately, would love to go, but I'm going to be in Calgary for work, so I can't go. But I did just want to throw it out of something that maybe we could consider if anybody was interested in going. I think it's
Do you know
at
the
the
top-
Marriott.
Do you know the topics they cover?
Yeah, I actually can pull them. They were in my notes, but my notes went away.
Well, you don't have to share it with us now, but if you could share it with us so we can see what the topics
Yes,
are.
one of them is this, there's school security, school safety is one of the topics. I think that's what kind of made me, here it is, hold on. 2018 Summer Institute, July 20th, School District Accountability Update, Social Emotional Learning in an Academic Setting, Goal Setting, High School Start Times, Restorative Justice, and School and Student Safety. And it's at the Courtyard Marriott in Marlborough, and,
All same Desi.
some attendees are staying there, but it's $50 for one day, $75 for two.
I'm doing it through Desi.
That price.
Right. Anything else under new business? Okay, then we're going to move along. Superintendent's report, Dr. Maestas.
Yes, tonight, just, once again, you heard about the morning activity at North High School. Can't say enough about how it was handled this morning. We had a really great weekend. Saturday was marvelous. I know it was iffy to go outside at North High School. We ended up going outside and things went very well. I'd like to really highlight the work of the administration and staff at Plymouth North and South for their preparedness. And it takes a lot to get those events to run the way they do. And they were like clockwork. And it was a great day for both schools and families across Plymouth. So I actually ran across a woman who came from Denver, Colorado, who was a great-great-grandmother, and she promised her great-granddaughter that she would be here for graduation.
That's a
And
nice.
she was just extremely happy to be there. And then I ran into another individual who was a graduate of New Mexico Highlands University that came up to me. And it's one of the colleges that I went to.
Wow,
So
one of the
it was pretty good to have two Highlands grads and the alumni in the crowd. And then I had the opportunity last week to attend the Plymouth International Chorus at Plymouth South High School, and that was during the same time, actually half an hour difference between the North Convocation. And I have to tell you that it was spectacular. I know you were all busy at North. And the reason why they traveled this week was because they were off school, and that's when they could travel. Otherwise, we wouldn't plan events on that same week. But the quality of music was at an all-time high. Mike Capel and his staff should be really recognized and congratulated for the preparedness and the work that they did, and our children did a fantastic job. The students from Plymouth, England did a fantastic job as well, and their staff came along with them, their choral director and their support. So it was a fantastic day. And the last thing I have to report is I had the opportunity to have dinner on Friday night with the parents of the children who are studying from China. They came and had dinner on Friday night with me and some other staff and the host families. And they were very appreciative, and they were glowing to see their kids, and it was a great opportunity. And Saturday, I saw them afterwards, and they were just very excited to be part of this experience. And emotional for the kids from China because they were leaving their host families. And one of the young ladies said that she feels that she has two moms now, you know? So
Nice.
it was really a great connection. So I just want to report on some of the activities. And you know, between now and the 22nd, there's daily stuff happening. And I know you're going to get a lot of invitations. You know, we'll cover what we can. But it's very busy, you know, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Right.
Okay?
Questions?
Thank you.
For Dr. Maestas? You know, I just wanted to say publicly, and perhaps you can pass it along, I agree with everything you said. The convocations went wonderfully well, and so did the graduations. And the performers, the musicians, they gave up the evening to be at both convocations, and they played in the heat, and so we really got to send a thank you out to those performers who come to these things all the time, and they don't get a lot of attention because they're in the background, because that's where they want to be. They even dressed in black, so you can't see them, you know. But I think it's really great that they do that.
A lot of repeat verses.
Yeah, a lot of repeat verses. Okay, reports and retirements.
No retirements this evening.
Okay, correspondence.
Okay, we have one correspondence. A letter from Nathaniel Morton, Principal Mike Spencer, to recognize local businesses for their varied donations and support of Plymouth teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week in April. And I'll go through the list. Since we have a late agenda, I'll go through the list real quick. Stevens, The Florist, Elements Massage, Jolly Bean Cafe, T-Bones Roadhouse, Guilty Bakery Boutique, Bradford Liquor Store, The Happy Heart, Mindfulness and Mediation, Sanctuary, Yoga Studio, Secret Physique, Berry Studio, Sisu, Fitsu, Fitness Lifestyle, BJ's Warehouse, Morrison's Home and Garden Supply, Velo Juice Bar, Tuscany Tavern, Mamma Mia's, and Buddy by the Sea Apparel. So thank you for them
Wow, very
for
good.
supporting Teacher Appreciation Week.
School fundraisers. Is there anything to report on school fundraisers? Nope. Reports and proposals from committee members. Ms. Hunt?
I have a couple of quick things. As you know, I left the last meeting to attend the pinning ceremony for Allied Health, and I just want to mention how amazing it is, and just goes to show you, how, you know, what a wonderful gift having this technical education is. My daughter's a junior, she's 17, but most of these kids were either 17 or 16. I think there were about 30 students. Every single one of them passed their CNA exam with the state, which is a certified nurse's assistant or certified nurse's aide, and they all got pins. So now they can actually practice as a CNA, and they're juniors in high school. So I just think I'm blown away by that. You know, she's going to be able to work every other day during school at a nursing home, and it's just amazing opportunity for her to get experience and earn some income. So that was wonderful. The DBC subcommittee, agenda or itinerary committee met last week. I met with some parents, a former student, and a host and some teachers, and we're starting to hash out the itinerary. It's going to be here before we know it. They're going to be here August 2nd through 8th, which isn't really going to be a long time considering they're coming in late on August 2nd, leaving early August 8th. They're probably going to have one day with their families, and then only about 3 days, 3 or 4 days that we have to do some things with them. So we're in the process of that. And then I just wanted to echo what everybody said about the graduation activities, and I want to echo what Kathy McSweeney said in her speech. As I was sitting there at the convocations listening to all the awards and the accolades and all the colleges that these students are going to, it amazes me why anyone would question the rankings and abilities of our school. So I think you had to be in that room to really have it hit you how phenomenal these students are. So that's it for me.
Mr. Selly?
Yes, I can channel Kim's sentiments completely. Graduation was very impressive. These kids are very impressive, and we have a really great thing going for these kids. So I'm fully supportive of them, and it was a busy week last week. Convocations were great. I know we still have a busy schedule coming up, but I'm looking forward to it, so,
Awesome.
great.
Ms. Badger?
I'll echo the same sentiments that convocations were all done very nicely, and I love the differences between the two. They
Well,
both have their
it's
own
very stark,
character.
yeah.
You know, the character of the event is, you know, it's nice. I did want to correct, I know I sent an email out, but just to make sure everyone saw the email, that the Outstanding Citizenship Award from No Place for Hate is going to be Tuesday, June 26th at the Board of Selectmen's meeting at 7. So that you should be receiving something shortly, I hope. Even if you don't, you know. And then the next meeting of the Plymouth Alumni Association is June 21st at 6 p.m. In the Remax in the Benny's Plaza, which is no longer Benny's Plaza.
Yeah, right, you're dating yourself.
But, you know, whatever.
Always be Betty.
Exactly. And then my next thing, which I bring up every time, is Matthias Mass Kids Ride, is June 24th. We had a wonderful article in the OCM. Thank you. And we're really happy for that. We've got a lot of people who are interested in participating, and we're going to have Dr. Maestas riding with us all. And tomorrow night, if you're wondering what you're going to have for dinner, you should all go to the 99. And as long as you bring the card, and you can find it on the social media sites for the PMC Kids Ride, I think some of the proceeds will go to help us towards our goal, our monetary goal. So it should be fun. So volunteer.
Ms. Morgan?
Well, I'll skip the graduation accolades because everyone else has done that, but I attended about a week and a half ago the strings concert for PCIS. It was here at Plymouth, I was at Plymouth North. And, you know, we were mentioning Mike Capo earlier. They do an excellent job, and the talent these kids have, and the program seems to be growing. My son's in the program, and just the number of kids getting involved and whatnot is increasing. So it's a good sign for things to come at the high school level. So I attended that, and it was well done.
Excellent. Ms. Hunt?
I forgot one more thing, I'm sorry. I just want to remind everybody that this Saturday is the Fragment Society event. If you RSVP'd to come, thank you very much. I believe, I don't even remember what time it is, but
One, I think.
it's Saturday on the lawn of the Hedge House. Fragment Society is the oldest, or it's questionable whether it's the oldest or the second oldest charitable organization in the country. I'm on the board. We give money to Plymouth Families in Need, and they are turning 200, as is the Hedge House. So that's why they've agreed to let us host the event on the lawn, and we're really happy to have been able to invite the school committee as well as the selectmen and other elected officials. So we're looking forward to having everybody
I
there.
think you told me 4 o'clock, but I'll have to check it.
Yeah,
I think it's
12 to
1, yeah.
4. 1 to 4?
Yep,
Okay.
we'll be there.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. PYDC, Dr. Campbell, is there a report?
The next meeting is this Friday. Since the last meeting, though, we did have a few things that I didn't point out last time, which I could point out this time. PYDC took part in the Run to End Addiction at Bridgewater State University on May 19th. It was a great event. We had about 2,000 runners, so that was to raise money to fight drug addiction. It's a great event. Some runners from the school system, too, so it was really nice. We also kicked off what's called the Sticker Shock campaign. Had a press event, which the OCM took part in. That was at Pioppi's liquor store, actually, May 23rd. The Sticker Shock campaign was a way to take students, it was sort of a marketing campaign that students got involved in to deter those that are of age to buy alcohol, to buy from minors. So it was a great event. The stickers were are resealable that can go on the coolers in the liquor stores to remind those that are buying alcohol not to buy from minors. So it was a really nice event. Tomorrow, June 5th, we have a youth conference at Bridgewater State University, so we'll be bringing about 23 for our high school students to Bridgewater State to talk about this topic and to get their perspective on things and what's happening, why it's happening, and what we can do. So the student voice will be loud and present at Bridgewater State. Not only will Plymouth students be there, but there'll be students from all over the state there. So we look forward to that, and I look forward to reporting that out to you at the next meeting. And then Drug Story Theater will be coming back to PCIS on Friday, June 8th. That's all.
The next is the building committee. We have not met since our last meeting. Personnel.
We have a few appointments this evening, one certificated appointment, one classified appointment, 2 leaves of absences to report, and 6 resignations.
Any questions on the personnel report? Okay. Solar project update, Mr. Costa?
Thank you. Underneath the agenda item, there are 3 items listed. I'll go in order of project, probably be a little bit easier. There's a summary of the construction project for South High School, the PV rooftop. We're in the phase now where all of the panels are on the roof. They're installed and they're working on the wiring. And as you can see, there'll be one more crane pick to take off all the items unneeded items, and then the wiring will be complete and commissioning by the early part of July. So that's moving along very well. The 2 other items is for the school committee information is a summary of our battery project. It gives you, I think, a good overview of the savings, the project itself, what the intent is, what the scope is, and the rationale of why we have a battery, we'll have a battery at South High School. And also a copy of the owner contract. It's amendment number 1 to the Energy Management Services contract. That was voted by the school committee. This has been signed and executed by both parties, the school department and the contractor. The battery has been ordered. We anticipate a delivery date in the fall, and we have to do a few things before it comes in, make a pad for it, and there's some conduit that needs to be put in as part of the PV project that goes right into the electrical room to be ready for the battery. But that will be shipped and installed hopefully by the end of this fall. So we're moving right along. The thing that we are still waiting for, as you know, is the parking canopies. Those are still with Eversource. And as soon as we get that finished, the review finished, we will get going on that. As far as the field lights, the lights themselves have been ordered, and they've been purchased under the National Joint Powers Consortium Agreement, and we have been approved for financing. The lease purchase has been approved by Musco Finance, and I've met with Lynn Barrett on that document and reviewed that. And we've put a bid out. We'll be hitting the street next week on Friday, and that will be for the installation. Under Mass General Law, we cannot do that under collaborative project. Any labor over $50,000 has to be bid under prevailing wage. So that bid will be put out next Friday, and it's already been advertised. So if you hear anything about that, and we hope to have that returned by the end of June, first part of July, and hopefully award that contract. Our completion date, our goal, which seems reasonable by all parties, is the end of August for the installation of all the lights.
Questions? I need clarification on, you're talking about installation. You're talking about installation of the lights, not of the poles.
No, I'm sorry, the poles and the
Poles.
lights. I should.
So did you just say that the poles were going to be installed at the end of August?
They will be installed by the end of August. I should clarify, there are 5 poles that will be installed prior to that the building committee.
Those are the ones I'm addressing.
Those are the ones that are not inclusive of our project.
Okay, that's the building committee, that's the ones that go on the other side of the field.
Correct. They will be installed, but the school committee project includes the wiring of those poles.
Right.
So the remaining 14 poles will be installed by our project, the school committee project, but they can be installed off the turf.
Because the athletes are going to be back on the field in August.
That's correct.
That's why it's sort of touch, it's close.
But I think they've already made provisions for that at
Okay.
South High School.
Ms. Fry?
Speaking to the athletic director at Plymouth South, they have Forges Field as a backup. They work collaboratively with the town in case, but actually today, Tom said that he thinks that we're on the mark for when preseason begins.
Okay.
And the students won't be, but there is a backup plan just in case, so.
Okay.
'Cause
That's
You never
what I
know
was
with the
asking
weather. He
about.
said based
Thank
on weather, so.
Right. Other questions on the solar project update? Okay. The warrant this evening, Ms. Dunn.
Whereas school committee members have been provided with a copy of the cost center transfer and transaction summary report and the warrant for review, I move that the Plymouth School Committee accept and approve the report and accounts payable warrant number S060718 dated June 7th, 2018, in the amount of $1,627,461.72 as presented.
Is there a second? Mr. Selly is the second on that one. Are there any questions on that warrant, on that motion? Okay, so then we can vote on that. Everybody voted in favor. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the school committee this evening? Seeing no hands, and this is the time of the year when agendas get light, and we're living up to that reputation. So at this point, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.